الصراط المستقيم.
الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. استغفر الله استغفر الله استغفر الله. Inshallah, after remaining dua, the tafseer of the glorious Quran will be taking place. All brothers are requested to participate. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Mawlana Muhammad wa ala alihi. Allahumma la ilaha اللهم أعنا على ذكرك وشكرك وحسن عبادتك. اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا ورزقا واسعا وشفاء من كل داء. اللهم ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا جعلنا ما على الأرض زينة لها لنبلوهم أيهم أحسن عملا وإنا لجاعلون ما عليها صعيدا جرزا. صدق الله العظيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. اللهم انفعنا بما علمتنا وعلمنا ما ينفعنا وزدنا علما. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأزواجه وذرياته. In this verse of Surah Al-Kahf, which we just recited, in the 7th verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, إِنَّا جَعَلْنَا مَا عَلَى الْأَرْضِ زِينَةً. Verily, whatever we have created upon the face of this earth, it is zina, it is adornment and beautification for the earth. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions a reality of everything of this world, that whatever we have created in this world, for this world, is nothing but mere adornment and beauty for the earth. So we are, just a recap, we are going through the opening verses of Surah Al-Kahf, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down the glorious Quran upon Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, which has glad tidings for the believers, warnings for the disbelievers, especially those who used to ascribe partners and children with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And thereafter in the last ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala consoling Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, your grief upon their denial and upon their not accepting your message should not be to such an extent that your grief and your anger, it devours you and it eats you from inside, and this becomes a reason of this grief taking away your life. So you shouldn't go to that extent. And now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that whatever we have created upon the earth is adornment for it. So what is the link between this verse and the passage of ayat which has come before? So one link which the Mufassirin mention is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam that just like I, despite their kufr, despite their disbelief, despite their ascribing partners, despite their ascribing children with me, I continue, it angers me, it upsets me, but I continue favoring them and blessing them with many bounties of this world. Okay? So everything I have gifted them in terms of this world, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says they are not deserving of it, but I still continue to give. Similarly, the message is to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam that you are grief struck, you are upset with the way they are treating you, with their denial, and you feel suicidal, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says it doesn't end there. Like I continue blessing them, you need to continue with your mission of da'wah and propagating the message. Because this is also a means of ajr and a means of reward for Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam for being patient upon their denial and upon the way they used to treat Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, their treatment of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And the second link is that yes, they are disbelieving, yes, they are denying your message, and yes, they are causing you all sorts of trouble. And this is because of their social standing, because of their financial power, because of their worldly status. They feel that they are superior to you, and because of this superiority they hold against you, they cause you trouble and they put many thorns in your way. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says you do not need to worry, because inna ja'alna ma'al al-ardi, whatever we have created on this earth, whatever they have in terms of treasures, in terms of money, gold, silver, position, power, status, all these things have no reality. They are nothing but zina. They are nothing but adornment. They are nothing which lasts forever. They are nothing permanent. They are only things which are here today and which will wither tomorrow. Because beauty, okay, beauty, especially artificial beauty, we all know it's there for the day, and then by night that artificial beauty, it fades away. So similarly, whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them in terms of the blessings of this world, in terms of the different things of this world, it will fade away very, very soon. And you will see one day that you will be superior to them and you will be victorious over them. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says whatever we have created, whether it is the mountains we see around us, whether it is the greenery, the scenery, the lakes, waters, rivers, everything we see in this world, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says it is zinatul ard. It is a fashion and it is adornment for the earth, nothing else. Even so much so that the creatures which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the animals which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created, they are also zinatul ard. They are also adornment for the earth. Now a person may question that there are certain creatures, certain animals out there that they are really, really harmful. Okay, they are really, really harmful. And apparently there is no adornment, there is no benefit in those creatures and in those animals. So how is everything mentioned in this ayah, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whatever He has created, it is zina, it is adornment, it is beauty? How? Because there are many, for example, snakes, scorpions. All these things are harmful. So the ulama give the answer and they say that over here zina, adornment, is not only physical beauty. Over here zina is the adornment and the benefit of everything according to its field. So for example, there are many creatures which we may deem harmful or not beneficial for society, rather poisonous and harmful. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not created them useless. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has also benefits in creating them. For example, many people have written this fact that there are many types of snakes out there, that the poisonous atmosphere and the poisonous gases which are in the atmosphere, these poisonous and venomous snakes, they take in and suck these poisonous substances from the atmosphere, thus allowing us humans to live freely and to live safely. So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't create these certain animals which do not suck the poison away, then it would have been difficult for us to breathe. So everything Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created. It reminds me of an incident that a individual was traveling once upon a time, and he took a rest in a field where there was a small river and there was land on the other side of the river. So this individual was resting and he saw that there's a young man who is sleeping on the other side of the river. And all of a sudden a snake, it comes out from nowhere and it's approaching this young man who is sleeping. Now this individual who's on the other side, okay, he thinks that there's not enough time for me to go and save this youngster. So he watches, and what happens, all of a sudden from the side of the land where he was, a scorpion is running towards the river. The scorpion runs towards the river, and as soon as it reaches the river bank, a turtle jumps out of the river. The scorpion jumps onto the shell, onto the back of the turtle. The turtle swims across the river and it reaches the other side of the river. The scorpion hops off and runs towards that snake which is just about to sting and which is just about to attack the sleeping man, and the scorpion comes and clinches the neck of the snake and kills that snake, thus saving the sleeping man. And thereafter the scorpion goes back to the riverbank, jumps onto the turtle, goes across and came back where it came from. So all these creatures, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which we think are, waste of space, they're poisonous, harmful. Why has Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created them? We do not see, we do not visualize, and we do not realize how many things and how much calm Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is taking from these insects and from these animals. And when you look at the whole picture, this is what gives the world its beauty. So nevertheless, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, everything which you see around you, okay, is only adornment. It's only adornment of the earth. And whilst it's there, it's beautiful and it's nice and it's lush and it's green. But remember, it's not permanent, so your heart must not be attached to it. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam says in one hadith that in the dunya hulwatun khadira. Verily, this worldly life, this world is hulwa, is sweet. Khadira, it's green and lush. तो देखने में अच्छी और मजे में मीठी. It looks nice and it also tastes sweet. So this is the reality of the world. And day by day, we are seeing the manifestation of this statement of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that how easy and how comfortable the different things of this world are becoming. Let's just take technology for example. When the first iPhone came out many years ago, okay, then it was such a wow, that this iPhone, touch screen, camera, internet, all these things on one screen, okay. But now, okay, maybe 10, 12 years ago, now if you look at the latest iPhone, okay, whichever one, 14, 15, whichever latest iPhone we're on, if you compare that first iPhone to the iPhone which comes out this year, which is released this year, then you will see the massive difference in terms of advancement, in terms of technology, in terms of pixels, in terms of screen display, in terms of features, that so many things have changed since the first iPhone was launched. And so many things are becoming better and becoming more easier. Take for example a car. If you take a car which was, let's say, 05 plate, 2005. When you looked at that car in 2005, then that car seemed like a luxury car. But now compare the latest car, the 2023 model of the same car with the 2005 model, and you will see the massive difference. So when the model comes out and the time and era we are in, we will think that thing to be amazing. So just like that car we found amazing in 2005, now we don't even want to look at that towards that car. So similarly, right now, what the 2023 model car looks to us, 20 years down the line, we will look at this car just as we are looking at the 2005 car right now. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says that this is all zina. Things move on. Fashion and trend, it's always moving. That's why the test is, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you, then most definitely you should spend in the limits of Sharia. But like our Akabir, they say that dunya jeb mein rahe, dil mein nahi. That it's okay if the dunya is in your pocket, but it shouldn't enter your heart. Meaning, these things are there, and if Allah has granted you the wealth and Allah has granted you the ability, then why not? Why not use the comfort which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you? However, these things should not enter your heart, meaning these things shouldn't divert you from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in that hadith which I was saying, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam says, the world is lush, it's green, it's sweet, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala فَيَنْظُرَ كَيْفَ تَعْمَلُونَ. Allah has sent you and left you in this world, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala now is going to monitor how you're going to do in this world. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, what did he say to the Sahaba? He said, مَا الْفَقْرَ أَخْشَى عَلَيْكُمْ. It is not poverty that I am scared about you. Okay? It's not poverty that I'm worried about you. Rather, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam says, أَخْشَى أَن تَبْسُطَ عَلَيْكُمُ الدُّنْيَا. I am scared rather that the world will open up in front of you. فَتَنَافَسُوهَا كَمَا تَنَافَسُوهَا. Then you will compete with one another in the world, in worldly affairs, just like the people before you competed. And then the result of that is فَتُهْلِكَكُمْ كَمَا أَهْلَكَتْهُمْ. Just like the competition of the world destroyed the people before you, it will also destroy you. So Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam was very concerned about the opening of the world, because if a person is not careful, then this zinatul ard, the beauty of this world, can very easily divert and take a person away from the straight path. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in another verse of the Quran, we're going off this word zina, that this world, everything in this world is just adornment, it's beauty, it's fashion. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that the worldly life, when a person is born until his last, there are different stages in his life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِعْلَمُوا أَنَّمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا لَعِبٌ. Your life starts off with a period of play. So when a child is born, all that child wants to do is play, nothing else. Thereafter, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَهْوٌ. Then this child becomes a toddler, and now he doesn't want to play with the rattles, he doesn't want to play with the bricks. He wants gadgets, he wants devices, he wants iPhones, he wants a tablet, he wants a laptop, he wants a computer, he wants a PC, he wants a games console. So this becomes now amusement. Play becomes amusement. Now this child, this toddler grows up and he becomes a teenager. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says the next stage is wazina. The next stage of life is all about fashion. A person must be dressed the best, he must look the best, his house must be the best, his car must be the best. Wazina. Thereafter a person grows up, he gets married. وَتَفَاخُرٌ بَيْنَكُمْ وَتَكَاثُرٌ فِي الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَوْلَادِ. A person now, he's competing and boasting with his peers, with one another. Okay? He has to be the best in everything. And thereafter, when he has children, he gets married, he has children. وَتَكَاثُرٌ فِي الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَوْلَادِ. Competing with their children now. That who has more children, whose children are more successful. So the worldly life, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying this is the cycle. That this is how a person grows up, and he's always engaged in one of these phases of his life. He's either playing, he's amusing, he's enjoying himself, he's in fashion, he's competing in one another, he's competing in his wealth, he's competing with his children. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, كَمَثَلِ غَيْثٍ. The example of the world and the example of the beauty of this world, كَمَثَلِ غَيْثٍ أَعْجَبَ الْكُفَّارَ نَبَاتُ. It's like rain. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends down rain which makes crops grow. And now the ground is growing, the grass is growing, the plants are growing, the vegetation is growing, and it all looks lush and green. أَعْجَبَ الْكُفَّارَ نَبَاتُهُ. It's growing, pleases the farmer, pleases the tiller. Thereafter what happens, like the world is appealing, and the glitters of the world are appealing to us right now. Like this crop or this field, when the vegetation grows, it looks appealing, it looks green. But what happens after? ثُمَّ يَهِيجُ. Then this field, it withers. Okay, it withers. When it doesn't get water, when it doesn't get rainfall, okay, we saw in the heat wave last year, the greenery around us and the lands around us, how they withered and they became yellow. So this is exactly what Allah says in this verse. ثُمَّ يَهِيجُ فَتَرَاهُ مُصْفَرًّا. That it withers, it becomes dry and it turns yellow. Whatever you saw was green, the greenery, when it turns yellow, it doesn't look nice. So similarly is the example of this world. It looks appealing, but then the reality is one day it will all wither away. It will turn yellow. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us to focus on that thing which is permanent, and that is the hereafter. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Inna ja'alna, and remember this Surah Kahf is all about the fitna of Dajjal. And like I said, all other fitnas are trivial and minor compared to the fitna of Dajjal. So why is Surah Kahf telling us here that the world is a fitna? Everything in this world is a fitna, so make sure your heart is not inclined on something which is temporary, rather focus on what is permanent. So Allah Ta'ala says, we have created whatever we have created on the earth as adornment for it, لِنَبْلُوَهُمْ, so that we may test them. So Allah has created all this. Why is it so appealing? Because it's a test. It's a test. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to see. What's the test? أَيُّهُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. Who comes out with the best of actions? Meaning, who displays the most zuhud? Who displays the most abstinence? Who makes the world his motive, and who makes the akhirah his motive? A scholar, Ibn Atiyya, he mentions that this exam of this world, what is it? He says a person will be successful in this examination if he mentions 5 things. That أخذ بحق. First and foremost, he takes from the dunya, okay, lawfully and rightfully. Meaning, whenever he wants to earn money, whenever he wants to make money, he doesn't violate the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because a person, he falls into those things which are impermissible. A person falls into gambling, a person falls into interest, a person falls into bribing and so many different types of things, haram wealth. A person falls into all these things, why? Just to increase his bank balance. So the first thing, this Ibn Atiyya, this scholar, he says that the test is that you akhdhun bihaqqin, that you only take lawfully, you take rightfully. Okay, a person can earn how much he wants, but he has to make sure he stays within the limits of Sharia. He doesn't violate any of the laws of Sharia. Secondly, infaqun fi haqqin, he spends in the right avenues. A person could be 100% halal income, however, he's wasting his money. He's spending it into wrong avenues. Again, you're failing your test, because the wealth which Allah has given you, it's an amana. Spend it on the right thing. Spend it on yourself. Spend it on your family. Spend it in the causes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do something for your akhirah. So, infaqun fi haqqin, spending in the right path. Thirdly, ada'ul fara'id, making sure you're punctual with your fara'id and all the rights of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Making sure you give your zakah. Making sure that wealth doesn't stop you from reading your salah. Make sure it doesn't stop you from fulfilling the rights of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Fourthly, which is linked to the third one, ijtinabul maharim. Just because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed you, okay, doesn't mean you start indulging in haram. Ijtinabul maharim, you stay away from haram. And obviously, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has opened the world in front of you, then this test is greater, because your nafs and your desires, they desire to try different things. Curiosity, Okay, curiosity, it takes many people away from the right path, because you want to try this, you want to try that. Many individuals who fall into the habit of drugs, it's all about this curiosity, that they want to try, they want to have that buzz, they want to have that feel, and because of that now they become drug addicts. So this world, okay, it's a test. You need to stay away from it. And the fifth thing is al-iktharu minan mandubi ilay, that whatever excess Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you, you try to do those things which are not farad, but those things which are very much liked by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and which will help you in the hereafter. So linabluwahum, so that we may examine them who carries out the best actions. And thereafter Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the next verse he says, it's all there right now, but وَإِنَّا لَجَاعِلُونَ مَا عَلَيْهَا سَعِيدًا جُرُزًا. Verily whatever is on the earth right now, which was called zina and adornment and ronak and khubsurti in the ayat before, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says we're going to turn all that into sa'idan juruza, a plain barren land. So everything on this earth, all the trees and the greenery and the lakes and the mountains and the buildings and everything which we see in this world, so much beautiful scenery we see around the world, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says close to the day of Qiyamah, or on the day of Qiyamah, we're going to turn all this into a barren land as though nothing ever existed. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling you and I in Surah Kahf, which we read every Friday, that this thing which is all going to perish one day, which is all going to turn into dust, which is all going to turn into a barren land, is it worth giving your heart towards? Or would you rather put your heart towards something which will benefit you forever in the hereafter? Just ending on an example of this, just to understand what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying here. It's just like an examination. Okay, a person goes into an examination, and let's take for example a GCSE exam. So a month before the GCSE exam, okay, you would do anything to get your hands on the exam paper. Okay, the exam's not been released, the dates have been given, but the exam paper has not yet been released. And you find out that the paper is ready. Okay, the paper is made. And you would do anything to get your hands on that paper before the examination. You would be ready to pay thousands of pounds. If that degree meant something to you, you would pay thousands of pounds just to get your hands on the exam paper, just to have a look at the exam paper. But once you've completed the exam paper, once the exam is done, and once the exam is completed and you have your results, does that exam paper hold any value anymore? You see that exam paper lying around in your classroom. You see that exam paper being torn up and thrown in the dustbin. Something which held so much value 2 days or even 2 hours before the exam. Something which had so much value, that exam paper. Now you see copies of that exam paper scrunched up in the dustbin. So similarly, this world, we see the beauty of this world, everything is there. It holds so much value in our eyes, but on the day of judgment, the beauty and the adornment, what we see around us of this world, it will be equivalent to that piece of paper which is scrunched up and put in the dustbin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, because we're going to turn it all into a barren and a plain field, and there will be no value for anything in this world. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us all the understanding, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the tawfiq to practice upon whatever has been said. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.